Good morning, everybody. Wow, that was a great panel. Before this, I'm just sitting with my colleague Irene here and looking back and I go, I can't believe this room is 99% women. We've been at this right from the beginning, and thanks for Tracy and her team for actually making that happen. I remember Futurist was founded by all-female team, this conference, and it's done incredibly well for the Canadian scene. So thanks for all of you guys for making this happen. All right, and I'd like to bring two of my panel members, Ceara and Rhonda, on stage, and we'll share our stories. And we will talk about people, profit, and planet. And try to see how that has worked out in our crypto community as of in the last 10 years. So you know what I'll start? I'll start with you guys just giving background on how you got into this space, because I think it's important to understand that we're all coming from different backgrounds, and something happens in our lifetime that we kind of transition into a completely new space and find it super interesting. Please, so Ceara, please start.
Hi, I'm Ceara Crawford. I have been working in crypto, in blockchain for almost 7 years now, and I actually found blockchain through blockchain badging when I was working at a post-secondary institution under the idea that...
Closer.
Am I not loud enough?
Yeah.
It feels really loud. Under the idea that people should be able to own their post-secondary credentials. And so there's actually a number of technical institutions around the world now who use this program so that you can become a plumber, an electrician, a designer, and actually own that credential and not have to retrain when you go to different countries. But that was just blockchain. I actually found crypto when I was on a road trip. This is a long story I won't go into. If you want to know about it, come find me because it's hilarious, where a 90-year-old woman in a small rattlesnake town asked me why I wasn't making NFTs. And so I literally cut my road trip short, drove home, and found out why I wasn't making NFTs. I never did make one. But this actually onboarded me to DeFi. I started with a company called Rome Blockchain Labs, and I'd like to give them a shout out because I was not their first female hire. They already had a staff of about a third women, and that was pretty early in DeFi. So good on them. Since then, I've gotten the opportunity to work with so many projects across so many networks, Cosmos, Avalanche, all sorts of L2s, and I think we're going to just keep building.
Awesome. Thank you. Rhonda?
Yeah, hi, good morning. I guess I came from the traditional side. I'm not ashamed to say that. So I worked in hedge funds, alternative investments for most of my career as a chartered accountant across the Caribbean, just working with hedge funds out of America. I heard the term or concept in New York at a Barclay Rise event that what if money knew its owner? I'm like, what? And then it started talking about biometrics and refugees and being able to, they have to flee a country with no identification. But if you have something on the blockchain that their biometrics identify who they are, the passport would not be as important. So I'm like, this is really fascinating. That was 2014. It wasn't until 2016 that I just in doing, I'm an entrepreneur, so I sort of started advising startup companies, using my traditional talent to help smaller firms. I came across a former colleague, and we thought we would collaborate, but he was in RegTech blockchain. So I'm still on the traditional side, but using my skills in this new technology. And that same year, I had incorporated a nonprofit called Harness All Possibilities, and I started doing events in the town where I live for unemployed people. And what I found was that it was a 7 a.m. meetup, breakfast, and these people showed up. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, all these people showed up, and I'm asking, how long? The guy's like, I'm from New Jersey. I traveled 2 hours to be here. And I'm like, why? He said, this is going to be something that takes off. And I started doing events in the town where I lived. Then I started doing New York. Then I started doing orphans, and then I met crypto chicks at an event in the Bahamas in 2018, so 4 years later. Then I started working with the government. Then I started working with professionals. This year, I'm really excited to say we started teaching teen moms who had to drop out of school AI coding, and then we went to orphans, and then we've branched out into the Cayman Islands. So we do a lot of educational events, a lot of cohorts. It's really very simple model. Share the knowledge, get out of the way. You don't need to own the people. Allow them to take it into their community to cascade the knowledge. And this year I have flown to the Cayman Islands and small islands in the Bahamas to have our students do their first events. I'm just there for moral support. Let them shine. I get out of the way, move on. So that's what I've been doing with my nonprofit. As I said, on the professional side, because we're talking about profit, I use my traditional skills to just stay engaged in the traditional industry. And I'm looking at converging both the traditional and DeFi. So I'm on the board of an international nonprofit called Help for Children, and I'm really bringing now the blockchain and the crypto, that side that they don't want to talk to. I'm looking at the convergence, and I think that being a voice for that is important because we do need the money. I'm sorry, the profit is important, but the purpose and the planet and all of that cannot happen if we stay in two different camps. So that's who I am.
Amazing. I guess I'll quickly say I come from traditional engineering education. I always was a geek for new technologies. I started with new interesting materials, and this was like a new tech to me. This whole blockchain, but it wasn't just another tech. There's fundamental techs that really transform, that kind of converge and transform how we live. And this was tech about global financial freedom. I mean, we don't really feel it in Canada. Our banks are fine. Nothing collapses. The government doesn't take your bank accounts away. But that happens pretty much all the time. We complain about, the fact that we have inflation, but it's not, 100% a day, right? So, and we do have unbanked people in Canada as well. I mean, if you're in a sort of a not esteemed professions, including crypto, you're probably not going to be able to open a bank account. And so it's those things we don't really see in Canada, but they are global problems that are there. And so I'm going to sort of transition into, and actually, quick story, because women are here. So my first project in crypto was before Ethereum was launched and before I was involved with crypto checks. And I was CEO of a small public company, and we were looking at diamonds, color diamonds. And crypto was kind of the best way kind of to create digitizing the asset. And that's why, and we were going to do this on the coattail of Ethereum as it was launched, because that allowed you to do ICOs. So that's kind of like, diamonds are a girl's best friend. So that's how I got into crypto. Right. But I think, okay, we'll start with our thing. There's people, profits, and planet. And I guess the question is that if we kind of rewind back, where Satoshi did his initial paper and why we got blockchain existed before that, but this was really the first implementation. Do you think in that white paper, was that his focus? Was it people, profit, or planet when he kind of structured out this whole concept of transferring value? What do you think?
For me, I think, if you look at when this became a thing, it was post-financial crisis as a result of what people were doing for profit. So I think that was sort of the catalyst. That was the thing he said, we cannot go on like this. People put their money with banks, and this is what they do. And we had a tsunami, it was global, and it was like an extended or unduly protracted recession for the world. So he had this great idea to bank the unbanked, those people who you cannot afford to put your money in the bank to have the fees and everything take away what you've worked hard for, and to see it wasted. So I think he was definitely thinking people. He was definitely thinking profit, but not in the way we are thinking about it. He's like, give the people the profit, And Planet, I don't think he could foresee that we would have issues with the Planet and, in terms of the mining, et cetera.
Okay, first of all, I have to say that we don't know who Satoshi Nakamoto is, and so it's a big assumption that it's a he.
I'm sorry.
We're here at
It.
All right.
Sorry, my bad.
I'm just teasing.
It's so cool.
So if we take a look at the actual white paper, it's based on the idea that we need to trust one another, right? That's the only way that decentralization works. If we come from that perspective, we know that Satoshi Nakamoto must have believed in the inherent good of people, and ergo probably believed in social good. But Bitcoin's kind of just used as a store of value now, so let's talk about Ethereum. Vitalik, we can call him, and we all know that he's a huge proprietor of social good. He loves open source software, public education, infrastructure projects, quadratic funding. So are the founders of the crypto as we know it today into social good? I would say so. Are they into the people? Absolutely. Are they thinking about the planet? Maybe they should think about it a bit more, but I think we'll go on a bit more afterwards. But if you're here today, you must believe in the social good, and because it is decentralized, that's what actually matters.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think that sort of covers it. It's an interesting angle. I kind of left the questions open because I wanted to get kind of that discussion going. And I think Vitalik is thinking about the planet because we moved from proof of work to proof of stake.
Absolutely.
That was like a big transition. So we are thinking about the planet for sure. All right, coming to profit. So interesting being part of this conference and feeling the vibe, because every crypto events, they have different type of vibes. So like dev cons, there's the more technical ones, a focus, you've got a kind of a different look at what is going kind of the guts of the system and how those guts are operating. The conferences that are more general, the big like Bitcoin conference that we just had in Nashville, they're probably focused more on profit and kind of getting that, now you've got, RFK and Trump presenting at these conferences because they want you to donate crypto towards their campaigns. So there's definitely kind of that aspect. I mean, this conference here, you have O'Leary who bought a number of companies, and there's consolidation going in the markets here. If you look at, since 2013, Bitcoin went up 673% per year. That's better than any freaking market, performance out there. So what are your thoughts? Have we lost son of sight of what we started with as kind of like social good, kind of, and unbanking and bank, and gone back to traditional finance because of the profit component? Yeah, please.
Go ahead.
My view is that, sadly, I think we've lost our way. We started out really wanting to do good in this space. And I will tell you, just from my experience going to events, I would see someone come who's lost a job on Wall Street. They've come to a crypto event, know nothing about crypto, and 6 months later they emerge as an expert with a company making the same fees that they made before, same salary, right? They don't care about the persons who don't know anything about this industry. They're not in the space. I don't think we do enough to go and find them. They're not going to know anything about crypto. When we do find them, we don't use the language that we should use so that they could understand it. So I think we've lost our way with the crypto side of it. But if you look at the technology, and we need to stay focused on the technology, it has immense power. It has endless power to really help the underserved. And I think if we took some of that profit that we waste on the crypto and trading it and the risk, and it's just, people are just trying to make money. And we are selling people, oh, come into crypto, you could be rich, look at my car, look at my house, look at me. We sell that more than we sell the technology. The technology is where the power is, and it goes back to what Vitalik is doing and what Satoshi was doing, what we women are doing. We could actually empower more people, and that's where the profit becomes something that we all share. That's my view.
Did anyone check their portfolio this morning? Can anyone tell me where Bitcoin's at this second? I think it's 82,000 Canadian, about $60,700 American. And it started at, was it an 8 cents offer? So have we lost our way? Maybe. Have we seen mass adoption? Yes. but we're also only seeing Bitcoin be used more as a store, right? Sort of like a store of gold. And okay, fine, traditional finance has come in. Now what? Well, now we're seeing more adoption. Now we see ETFs. Now we see adoption of Ethereum. Have we lost our way, or are we getting funding? Have we lost our way? Yes, if you're thinking about it from a decentralized only perspective, or is TradFi entering the space pushing those of us who are degens, who are able to innovate for the next thing? We can always rely on laggards like my grandma to buy an ETH ETF when it comes through TradFi, and that does fund the rest of us and what we're doing here. So have we lost our way? Maybe. Can we use this to our advantage? Definitely. I'd like to give a really quick example. It's actually on Avalanche, not Ethereum. I'm so sorry. But one of the issues with decentralization is that we are still looking, one of the failures, of decentralization is that we're still looking to government and to TradFi to try to legitimize things as opposed to looking into one another's eyes and thinking that something is legitimate. If you ever played Axie Infinity, they're actually here today talking about what they're going to do next. Axie Infinity or Crabata on Avalanche took off hugely in the Philippines. In the Philippines in, I think it was 2021, someone can fact check me, it was over 51 million unbanked adults, and 87% of those people had access to smartphones. So play to earn games took off hugely, and to keep it short for the sake of time, people were actually buying groceries, buying petrol, and almost Venmoing each other, but using TUS, which was a Crabata in-game token, because they trusted one another more than they trusted their financial system, more than they trusted their government. I think this is a huge win for crypto and can be a really good use case scenario of what we can envision to be. So have we lost our way? Yes, because we're looking to TradFi to legitimize those people who are in the room today. Can we overcome that through innovation? Well, maybe using some of their money to keep building? Absolutely.
And I think what we have to do is really look at the people we're building it for and get them more involved. Go and look at projects. Sometimes we look at projects we want to go in and buy. You know, we're a VC, we understand that. That's the TradFi mindset. But what about going in and building with them? Letting them lead and just making sure that they have the advice and the mentorship that they need. If we do more of that in communities, we don't have to try so hard. This industry is able to get the network effects very organically. That's what I believe anyway.
Yeah, I think we're on a good path. I mean, with some deviations, and money is money. You gotta live, you know?
Need it, sorry.
All right, so now we're gonna move to Planet. All right, and University of Cambridge estimated that worldwide Bitcoin mining uses like 121 terawatt hours. That's basically consumption of Netherlands for the entire country. So like we're trying to be good, and then we're kind of, shooting ourselves in the foot a little bit. What do you think? What do we do from how can we kind of manage that?
I'm gonna keep my opinion on this very short because it's gonna be unpopular. That's not that bad.
No, I would agree with you
Look at
too.
what other industries are doing. If you think Bitcoin is acting as a store like gold, know that gold mining today has double the terawatt hour output. Also know that some Bitcoin mining companies, industries, areas are lobbying for environmental protection, lobbying for clearer regulation. Actually, in Vancouver, if you want a Canadian example, look up a company, I think they're called Mint Green, but a couple of years ago, they were working with the North Vancouver government to create Bitcoin boilers where they could actually harvest 96% of the heat generated to heat homes. I tried this in my house, it didn't work. But I'm sure that they are much smarter and able to use that type of technology. We're also looking at stabilizing power grids when we talk about Bitcoin mining. Look into what the Energy Council in Texas is doing, where they're actually able to reduce how much Bitcoin miners are active during emergency situations, which did happen in 2021 and was set to happen in this past winter as well. That's my very short take, but.
Yeah. And I think for the planet, when you look at mining, and I hope, again, it's not the popular thing, we're being very honest, and women tend to be more honest with things. You have noise pollution in some areas. Small areas where people had very quiet lives. The dogs are losing their hearing, humans are losing their hearings. And then you have mining companies that are on both side transactions. They're arbitrage. They go in, they get concessions to bring the mining company to a particular area, but then they're also able to manipulate the price in that if there's a shortage, who has the supply at a cheaper price? They do. So there's arbitrage. There's a lot going on there, lack of regulations. And I think when you look at the industry overall, not that we need to be regulated by government, because I think they are very much power and wealth and profit generating, but to really look at ourselves and say, is this good for my community? And have a voice, and we need to bring those people in to have a voice to change this industry so it becomes something that's invisible. We shouldn't really have to think what's behind it. It should be like when you start your car. Do I know how to make a car? No, I don't, but I know how to drive it. I know how to take care of it. It should be that blockchain, crypto, they all become mainstream, invisible behind the scenes, doing what is right for the people, the planet, and profit. That's my view.
Thank you. All right, we're a little bit out of time, but I want to, last question. Is that okay? Thank you. All right, so because we are talking about social good, do you want to showcase a project that you think in crypto is doing some amazing stuff? Ceara? Or?
I just believe that everyone who does something, it's important to put the spotlight on any one company. I'm not here to promote any one company. If you've got an idea and that's your purpose, I believe in this term called ikigai. I don't even know if that's the right pronunciation, but if you have a passion for something, right, you love it, if it's something that you're good at, if the world needs it and you can actually make money, that's the ikigai, and I apologize again if I don't get the pronunciation correct, then that's a good project because that's a human part of the project. I don't think there's anything else I can say there, but you may have something in terms of companies.
I think it's really important that you find a company that aligns with your ethos and contribute to that project, even if it's not the project that is making you money. So if you really believe in the planet part of the ethos here today, maybe check out the Regen Network, maybe check out the Regen community, see if there's some way that you can help with that, see if you want to join the Green Pill Network if you're a huge DAO person. If you are really passionate about education, if you're passionate about closing the wealth gap for women of color, check out Disruptor DAO. But what's really important is dive in and participate. If you are just watching, you aren't necessarily helping. So I encourage you to find what you're passionate about and then come tell us so that we can join too. And finally, on this topic, it's really important that we hold one another accountable and that we hold ourselves accountable. That's the only way that decentralization will contribute to people, profit, and planet.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and thank you for listening.